everyone, my name is Annie and today I'm here to talk to you about 3 books. The Woman in Cabin 10, The Girl on the Train and Gone Girl. Now these are all books which I finished within the last week and they are all in the thriller genre, and they are all also books which kind of blew up around a year or 2 ago, especially with the film adaptations of Gone Girl and The Girl on the Train which came out. So I'm here to tell you whether these books are worth the hype that they got. I'm here to discuss them in depth. Girl on the Train follows a woman who takes the same commute to work every day, and she always takes a train which passes this row of houses where her ex-husband lives, but also where this other family who become very important to the storyline live. And one day she witnesses something which shakes up her world and causes her to dig deeper into that family, and it tangles her up with her ex-husband again, and it all gets very complicated. But the thing that is so brilliant about The Girl on the Train, which you probably have already heard of if you've heard anything about the story, is that it is told from the perspective of an unreliable narrator. Now, our main character, the protagonist, is an alcoholic, and the way that the author writes about her alcoholism is really gripping and it really makes the reader feel rather sympathetic towards her, despite her being such a frustrating character. Now, the thing with a lot of these stories is none of the main characters are particularly likeable, because that is not necessarily necessary for this genre. In fact, all the characters in all 3 of these stories are rather problematic in that they all have aspects of them which are serious character flaws, but those all come into play with the story. The Girl on the Train is brilliantly written, and it is extremely fast-paced, and it is told from 3 perspectives of 3 different women who all have a part in the story. The ending for me was unexpected. I did not see it coming, and I really loved the setting of suburban England. It just had this very dreary and grey atmosphere, and overall I gave it 5 stars. I thought it was fantastic, and out of all these 3 I think that is the one that lives up to the hype the most. Next, let's talk about The Woman in Cabin 10. This is a book which is set on a boat on a cruise ship, which first of all I think is a really interesting setting, because it's always very interesting to see how characters react in a foreign environment, particularly in this case because the main character suffers from quite severe panic attacks and she takes antidepressants. One day she witnesses a crime and that kind of comes to haunt her throughout the whole story. For me, this one had the weakest ending, and I think endings are so important for crime books because you're kind of reading in anticipation to find out who's done the crime. The ending felt slightly unbelievable. Also, literally none of the characters in this book are likeable, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but it made it hard to connect with them, especially the main character. Moving on to Gone Girl, let me just say this one was by far the creepiest. I watched certain scenes from the film on YouTube and I was like, no, I'm not going to be able to stomach watching the entire film because the book itself is graphic. That put on the screen, I'm not sure how I would cope. Let me know if you've seen the film and you enjoyed it, but that is not my cup of tea. However, this book was so well written. It is told from 2 perspectives and 2 separate timelines. So one is present day and the other one is kind of in the past. Halfway through this book, the tone of the book completely changes, and from there it's just a roller coaster of emotions, of adventure. You never know who to trust, you don't know whose side of the story you want to believe. This one I did not enjoy as much as The Girl on the Train, however. I don't know if it was because the ending isn't as conclusive as The Girl on the Train, and if you've read the book I think you'll know what I mean when the ending just feels very unsettled and I'm not sure I like where it went. The characters in this one, however, were the most interesting in my opinion. There was just so many layers to them and they're so complex and so psycho, some of them. Was it worth the hype? Well, I think it will definitely deliver in the fact that it is a page turner. Whether it was worth the amount of hype it actually got, which was a ridiculous amount. I mean, I remember at one point you'd walk into any bookstore and this was all that lined the shelves. I don't know, but it was a fun read and a really immersive read, and I would definitely recommend it. One thing that I find really interesting about this one is that Gone Girl deals a lot with the media and how the media manipulates things. It's really interesting to see interactions that the characters had with the press and all that. Overall, these were very enjoyable reads. 3 stars, 4 stars and 5 stars. If you've read any of these, let me know what you thought about them, and if you have any more recommendations in the genre, let me know, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!